Here's the thing about Doom Eternal that almost nobody talks about. It's one of the hardest shooters ever made. It will kill you repeatedly and without mercy, and yet it never, ever feels unfair.
Most games this difficult feel like they're working against you. Doom Eternal feels like it's working with you. And the reason why comes down to a single design decision, just one, that changes absolutely everything about how the game operates.
Today, we're gonna break down the push-forward combat system, the design mechanic that makes Doom Eternal feel the way it does. We'll look at how it works, why it works, and what it tells us about game design at its absolute best. Quick bit of context if you haven't played it. Doom Eternal is a first-person shooter released in 2020 by id Software. It's the sequel to Doom 2016, which was itself a reboot of one of the most important franchises in gaming history. You play as the Doomslayer, basically a one-man apocalypse, and your job is to kill demons, all of them. Honestly, when I first played this, I didn't immediately understand why it felt so different from other shooters. I just knew that it did. Something about it was operating by different rules. That question, what rules exactly, is what this channel is here to answer.
On the surface, Doom Eternal looks like a very loud, very fast, very violent game. Underneath that surface, it's one of the most elegantly designed systems in modern gaming. Let's get into it. Think about how most shooters handle the moment your health gets low. You get hit, the screen goes red, and the game is basically telling you, get behind something. Wait, let your health regenerate. That's the language almost every FPS has trained into us over decades of play. When things get dangerous, slow down and hide. Doom Eternal looked at that design language and broke it, completely and deliberately. Because in this game, hiding is how you die.
In Doom Eternal, there are 3 resources you need to survive: health, ammo, and armor. And here's where the genius comes in. Each one is tied to a completely different aggressive action. You get health from glory kills, brutal close-range executions on weakened enemies. You get ammo from the chainsaw, which instantly kills any demon but costs fuel to use. And you get armor from the flame belch, a shoulder-mounted flamethrower that causes enemies to drop armor shards as they burn. 3 resources, 3 separate actions. All of them require you to move toward the fight. That's the push-forward system, and the core idea is almost elegant in its simplicity. In Doom Eternal, danger is the solution to danger. When you're low on health, you don't hide, you dive into a glory kill. When you're out of ammo, you don't retreat, you chainsaw something and take what you need. The game has mechanically removed the option to play passively. Standing still isn't a strategy. Standing still is just a slower way of dying. Here's what this system actually does to your brain. In most games, low health triggers a fear response. You feel weak, exposed, like you're losing. In Doom Eternal, low health triggers an opportunity response. You think, which enemy is almost dead? Where's my glory kill? Your resources are low, but you know exactly what to do about it. The game has rewired the emotional meaning of danger. Running low isn't a sign you're losing, it's a sign you have work to do. And when you actually do that work, when you chain a chainsaw into a glory kill into a flame belch without missing a beat, you feel like the most competent, most alive thing in the room. That feeling is manufactured deliberately by the design, and that is the mark of a genuinely great game. The push-forward philosophy doesn't stop at the resource system. It runs all the way through the weapon design as well, and this is where Doom Eternal goes from clever to genuinely brilliant. Every demon in the game has a weak point, a specific weapon or tool that handles it most efficiently. And this isn't just a damage number buried in a spreadsheet somewhere. It's a design language, and once you learn to read it, the game completely transforms. I still remember the first time this clicked for me. I'd been struggling with cacodemons for most of a run, just trying to outshoot them, and then I lobbed a sticky bomb into one's mouth and it staggered instantly. I literally laughed. The game had been trying to tell me something and I finally listened. So let me walk through the key matchups because each one tells you something about how this game thinks.
The Cacodemon, its weak point is that enormous open mouth. Fire a sticky bomb or frag grenade directly into it and the enemy staggers immediately, completely open for a glory kill. At longer range, a charged ballista shot will kill it outright. The game is teaching you to read the body of the enemy, not just its health bar. The Arachnotron, its plasma turret is what makes it genuinely dangerous, and a single sticky bomb from the combat shotgun destroys that turret permanently. What was one of the most threatening heavy enemies in the arena becomes something that can only try to swipe at you. One shot completely changes the threat level. The rocket launcher against groups of enemies. It's not the right tool for a single target. It's the right tool when you look at the room and see enemies clustered together. The game is asking you to zoom out from what's in front of me to what's the whole room telling me right now. The Archvile. This demon summons other demons during combat, and the correct response isn't to race to kill the Archvile before it can summon, it's to freeze it mid-summon with the Ice Bomb. You're not eliminating a threat, you're preventing reinforcements from existing. It's a completely different way of thinking about the encounter. That one took me an embarrassingly long time to figure out. I kept trying to kill it faster. The game was telling me to think differently. And then there's the Marauder, probably the most debated enemy in the game. He blocks almost everything you throw at him. He only has one real vulnerability window, the split second right after he swings his axe. That's your moment. A ballista shot or the super shotgun at close range. You cannot rush him, cannot spam, cannot apply the same aggression that works on everything else. The Marauder is the game's way of checking whether you've actually understood its own rules, or whether you've just been getting by on reflexes. And finally, the super shotgun with the meat hook. More than a weapon, it's a movement tool that happens to deal damage. You grapple toward any demon, deal massive close-range damage, and immediately disengage. It's the push-forward philosophy turned into a physical ability you can trigger on demand. Honestly, the meat hook is one of the most satisfying things I've ever used in a game, not because of how much damage it does, but because of what it represents. The entire design philosophy of Doom Eternal mapped to a single button. No weapon in Doom Eternal is universal, and none of them are wasted. Every single one has a job. And that constant switching, that split-second decision-making under real pressure is just another layer of the same idea. Stay engaged, stay moving. The game only rewards you when you're actively playing it. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Doom Eternal didn't invent push-forward combat. Other games tried similar ideas before it, and most of them got it wrong. Looking at why they failed tells us exactly why Doom Eternal succeeded. Bulletstorm came out in 2011 and had a genuinely interesting concept. Kill enemies in creative ways. Kick them into spikes, use a leash to pull them into the air, shoot them in specific body parts, and earn skill points you could spend on upgrades and ammunition. It was clearly trying to reward aggression and creativity, which is the same instinct as Doom Eternal. But here's the problem. The skill points felt optional. You weren't earning health or ammo, things you actually needed to survive. You were adding to a score. And scores feel like a game on top of the game, not the game itself. When the reward isn't connected to survival, a lot of players just stop engaging with the system. I played Bulletstorm at launch and enjoyed parts of it, but I never felt the same urgency I feel in Doom Eternal, that sense that I have to do this creative thing right now because my life literally depends on it. The stakes were lower and the design felt it. Doom Eternal ties aggression directly to survival, not to a scoreboard. The feedback is immediate and the stakes are real. That's the difference.
Rage 2 came out a year before Doom Eternal and marketed itself on fast, aggressive, stylish combat. And it delivered on that in a lot of ways. The moment-to-moment shooting feels good, the abilities are flashy, the movement is fluid. But Rage 2 gave you health infusions, consumable items you could pop at any point to recover health. And the moment a game gives you a way to step back from the fight and heal on your own terms, most players will take it. The human instinct to play it safe is powerful. Doom Eternal didn't give you that valve, it designed it out entirely. Rage 2 kept it, and you can feel how differently the two games play within about 5 minutes of sitting with both. Back 4 Blood built its tension around enemy pressure and scarce resources, which sounds like the right ingredients, and it produced genuinely tense moments. But the optimal strategy almost always involves the same thing: fall back, regroup, heal up. The game never mechanically punished passivity the way Doom Eternal does, so players defaulted to the safe instinct every action game has trained into them: when danger spikes, retreat. The lesson from all 3 of these games is the same thing. It's not enough to encourage aggression. You have to make passivity impossible. That's the line Doom Eternal crossed that almost no other shooter has. But the point I want to leave you with here is this: the same idea can express itself in completely different ways depending on the game. That's what makes game design endlessly fascinating to me. Next time you play Doom Eternal, you won't just be playing it. You'll be watching the design work in the real time. The chainsaw as a resource pickup, the glory kill as a health mechanic, the marauder as the game testing whether you actually learned the rules. You won't be able to turn that off, which honestly is the best thing that's ever happened to my enjoyment of games. I hope it does the same for you. Drop the game you want broken down in the comments.